everything is your fault, and you need to take responsibility for everything. Pretty good clickbait, right? Just kidding, I didn't clickbait you. But of course, not everything is literally your fault, but that's the only time you're gonna hear me say that in this entire video. Because what I'm talking about today is a mindset that I feel like, don't want to make anybody who's not a Christian click off, but that I feel like God's been giving me lately is insight into this mindset that I've kind of switched my thinking towards. And that is thinking that everything is my fault and that I need to take action. And that's a lot to take in for now. So just here, how about you just come and walk with me? So we live in an age where we want to blame everybody else for our lives, for all of our downfalls, for all of our shortcomings. We want to blame our parents that we weren't born rich. Too bad Elon Musk wasn't my dad. That'd be awesome if I was a millionaire and had my life set for me. But that's not your responsibility. And that's not your parents' responsibility either. Sure, I would have loved it if my parents were multi-billionaires, but they're not. And that's okay. That's my responsibility. And of course, your parents were supposed to take care of you when you were 5 years old or whatever. But I'm 17 now and I need to start taking responsibility. And I could sit here and compare myself to other people and be like, dang, I wish my parents were rich like, I don't know, Kai Trump or something like that, or whatever the name of Elon Musk kid is. I can't ever pronounce that.
XAA12. Hexa 12.
But that's why Teddy Roosevelt said that comparison is a thief of joy in the Bible, and verses like Galatians 6, 4, and 5 say that we're not supposed to compare ourselves to other people. Or we'll blame our genetics for being overweight, or we'll blame our money for being overweight, that we can't afford a gym membership. And while these are valid concerns, all of these are true. Of course I'd be rich if I was Elon Musk's son. You gotta take responsibility for everything and start blaming yourself for things that you can take control of. So what I'm trying to say here is actually that no one is coming to save you. And yeah, that sounds really glum and sad, but it's true. And you may have clicked on this channel and saw the channel name and saw it was called Yapping for Jesus and been like, what the heck, man, that doesn't sound very Christian.
This is so bizarre!
But I'd argue that this is actually a very Christian message. And even if you're not a Christian, don't believe in Jesus, Jesus is a really good character. He's the ultimate example of taking responsibility for everything because he was a sinless being and he took responsibility for the sins of the world. A bunch of stuff that wasn't his responsibility. He really did make everything his fault. Now, what I meant by nobody is coming to save you is that you can't be constantly expecting other people to come and change your life and make your life better. You've got to get up and do the dirty work. You got to get up and do it for yourself. Now, it may sound like I'm just, I don't know, David Goggins or something.
They don't know me, son!
Get it! 18!
They don't know me, son!
Who's going to carry the boats? And I bet you didn't even realize that this Bible was here, but that's why Jesus in John 15:13, it says, no greater love has anyone than this, but that he lay down his life for his friends, which is a really powerful verse. And that's taking responsibility for everything. He's even taking responsibility for things that are out of his control. That is his friends. And how we can act this out in our own lives is not allowing our minds to go to a place where we start to think, this is out of my control, there's nothing I can do to do this, for things that we really can take control of. And for the longest time, I would sit there and just wait for success to come. Wait for myself to get older, wait for myself to get smarter, wait for myself to get wiser, to have more money, whatever it is. You gotta take action now, and that's taking responsibility for everything. Even if you don't have the most money, even if you're 10 years old, it doesn't matter. You can still start taking responsibility now, start working towards your goals. So this is all true, especially for like first world countries. If you're watching this from North Korea, you probably have an excuse for this. But if you're watching this from, can you even watch this from North Korea? Do they have like the internet? But especially in these first world countries, they call America the land of opportunity for a reason. And that doesn't mean that hard times don't come. It doesn't. But we can't let them get the best of us. And once you get into that space of, I wish this would happen, I wish this would happen, I wish. We like that because it makes us comfortable with where we are. That it's not our fault that where we are is where we are. It's not my fault that I'm out of shape. It's not my fault that I'm lazy. Once you start taking responsibility for these things, even things that may seem out of control to you, you'll start realizing how many things really are in your control, how many things you really can change and make better that you've been waiting on someone else to change. And while we're not in this life alone, and we've got plenty of people who will help us out, those are blessings. Other people, godly friends, good people who want to help us, those are blessings, not things that we're owed. And we need to stop having this entitlement mentality where we think that we're owed everything. And I think especially people in first world countries like America have this tendency to think that we are owed everything, to think that other people should be doing everything for us. Even in our walk with God, we'll sit here and we'll pray and be like, God, I want this, I want you to do that. And then just be like, all right, give it to me, God. But then we won't wait and we won't listen on it to him. We won't read his word. We won't try to get closer to him. We just ask him for things. But we got to take responsibility for our own walk with God. And I specifically am talking about this in regard to your goals. And there's a lot of talk on YouTube, social media, just everywhere about goals, about what you want to do with your life, about these things that you want to accomplish that seem out of your reach. And everybody has their own story, everybody has their own goals, their own things that they're working towards, but most people don't accomplish them because they don't take responsibility for them. And for me, that would be so many different things, but specifically YouTube, something like that. Because everybody wants to be an influencer these days. If you want to record videos, you've got to take responsibility. If you're not creating any content, you're not going to get any views. And that can be relevant to any aspect of life. It's the people who actually go to the gym who get in shape.
Who's one more to carry the boats?
And you sit there on your couch or doing whatever, laying in bed, scrolling on your phone or whatever, watching porn, I know people do it, and you think, I wish I was free of lust. I wish I was doing something with my life. You've got to take responsibility. It's your fault. And even if you sit there and you say, well, no, it's not really my fault, my genetics are bad, or it's not really my fault, I was feeling really weak today, and it's normal, it's normal. You can still do something about it. You can't expect results if you're not putting in the work. You can't expect to get to the top of the mountain if you never even put on your boots. And so you've got to start by just taking responsibility for putting on your boots. And then, once you start taking that responsibility, you start taking bigger responsibilities to pack your backpack, then take the first step, then make it to the first campground, and before you know it, you're at the top of the mountain. And that's because you took responsibility. Nobody's coming to pick you up on their back and just carry you up the mountain. And some people had that, but they're gonna have their own issues too. And God has a purpose for everything, and you've got to believe that. And that's why believing in God is really so helpful, because it allows you to take a deep breath and say, there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason I wasn't born into a rich family and didn't have my entire life just the red carpet laid out for me and I could do whatever I want. There's a reason for that. And I've got to trust that there was a good reason for that. And if I want to have my kid have that, or if I want to do that someday, if I want to go on like all these vacations, social media makes it so much worse because you see on social media all of these other people getting to your goals. I heard it said before, watching other people do the thing is not doing the thing. Reading articles, watching videos about doing the thing isn't doing the thing. The only thing that's actually doing the thing is doing the thing. And that's the ultimate picture of Jesus Christ in the Gospels. Humanity couldn't save themselves, but instead he took that responsibility on himself and he carried that cross for us. And we're supposed to do the same thing. So take responsibility to do the thing. So if you feel depressed, if you feel sad, if you feel like you have a lack of motivation,
Ask your doctor for Austedo X.
I feel you. I have a lack of motivation a lot. But it's in these moments that it's so important to realize that you need to get something that you're doing. Start doing something. Start taking responsibility. If you don't have any responsibility, give yourself responsibility. You can find a way, whether that's going to the gym, starting a business, starting a YouTube channel, whatever that may be. Because only when you're actually living out a purpose, which God has a purpose and a plan for everybody, that's the only time you're gonna stop feeling depressed, because you actually feel like your life means something. Once you begin to take up this responsibility, even if you don't want to, I promise you, a lot of that depression, a lot of that sadness, a lot of that feeling of hopelessness and helplessness will go away. I promise you that. And even though this sounds scary and it sounds like, I don't know, taking responsibility for everything sounds like something that somebody who's mad at you would say, like, you need to start taking responsibility for your life. I promise you, it's for the best and you'll enjoy your life a lot more once you start taking responsibility. While you may not like the idea of taking responsibility, like I said earlier, it really will help you live a better life. Okay, it's starting to get cold. Let's wrap this video up. I know, it sounds really, really scary to take responsibility for your own and other people. Whoa, I almost fell over. And other people's actions. And yeah, it kind of is. But that's the only way you're going to live out the best life that you can. It's the way that you're supposed to live it out. You're supposed to be doing things and providing for other people. That's the way it's all set up. And as you do this, it's not only going to make your life better, it's going to make the lives of other people around you better. But I hope that inspired you more than made you feel guilty to chase your dreams, go after your goals, stop blaming everybody else for not being where you want to be. And that's the ultimate way that you're like Jesus, and that you can live a more better, more fulfilled, less depressed life. But that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Maybe, if you like this. Peace.